The day Marcellus threw his wife out of their home, he believed he was finally getting rid of the biggest mistake of his life. He watched her walk away with nothing but a small suitcase and tears in her eyes, convinced that she had brought shame into his world. He thought he had married someone who had no future, no money, and no value. But 7 days later, when the truth finally came out, Marcellus discovered that the woman he abandoned was the only person who had ever truly loved him. Before we continue, if you believe that kindness, forgiveness, and second chances can change lives, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel, Echoes of Hope. Your support helps us bring more inspiring stories like this. For years, Marcellus Vale lived a life that looked perfect from the outside. He had a successful business, a beautiful apartment, expensive clothes, and a reputation as someone who had built himself from nothing. People admired his confidence, but they did not see the fear hidden behind his success. He had spent his childhood watching his family struggle, and he promised himself that he would never again experience poverty. Over time, that promise turned into an obsession. Money became more important to him than feelings, and appearances became more important than love. When Marcellus met Seraphina, she was different from anyone he had ever known. She did not care about his expensive watch or his luxurious lifestyle. She noticed the tired man behind the success. She saw the lonely person who was always trying to prove himself. Seraphina was gentle, patient, and kind. She worked quietly, helped others without expecting anything in return, and believed that a person's heart mattered more than their possessions. Marcellus fell in love with her because she gave him something his money could never buy, peace. For a while, their marriage was filled with happiness. They built simple memories together, sharing quiet mornings, evening walks, and moments where they laughed without worrying about the world. Seraphina never demanded expensive gifts or a glamorous life. She only wanted respect, trust, and a partner who valued her. But slowly, Marcellus started changing. His business became more demanding, and he began comparing his life with others. He started believing that his wife was not helping him reach the level of success he wanted. He noticed that Seraphina wore simple clothes, avoided luxury, and preferred helping struggling people instead of showing off their wealth. In his mind, he started creating a false image of her. He convinced himself that she was holding him back. One evening, everything fell apart. Marcellus returned home after a difficult business meeting where his wealthy friends had mocked his simple lifestyle. Their comments planted doubt in his mind. When he saw Seraphina preparing a modest dinner and wearing an old dress she had owned for years, he felt embarrassed instead of grateful. He looked at her and only saw what he thought she lacked. That night, he made the cruelest decision of his life. He accused Seraphina of pretending to be someone she was not. He believed she had hidden her poverty from him and that she had married him only because of his money. The woman who had stood beside him during his hardest days was suddenly treated like a stranger. His anger and pride blinded him so completely that he forgot every sacrifice she had made for him. Seraphina did not fight back. Her heart was broken, but she refused to become bitter. She packed her belongings quietly while tears filled her eyes. She left behind the home where she had created countless memories, leaving behind the man she still loved. As she walked away, she carried the pain of being misunderstood by the person who was supposed to know her best. The next morning, Marcellus expected to feel relieved. He thought his life would become easier without someone he considered a burden. But the silence in the house felt different. The rooms that once felt warm suddenly felt empty. He noticed small things that Seraphina had always done. The organized files on his desk, the meals prepared during his busiest days, the reminders that helped him manage his life, and the kindness that filled every corner of the home were all gone. Still, his pride would not allow him to admit he had made a mistake. Meanwhile, Seraphina returned to a small neighborhood where she had spent much of her life helping others. Marcellus did not know that she had never been poor. She had simply chosen a humble life. She believed wealth was not something to display but something to use for good. Years earlier, she had inherited a large family foundation that supported education, healthcare, and struggling families. She kept it private because she wanted people to appreciate her for who she was, not for what she owned. For 7 days, Seraphina continued her work quietly. She helped children get access to schools, supported families who had lost everything, and visited elderly people who had no one else. The people around her knew her as someone with a generous heart, but they respected her choice to stay away from attention. On the 7th day, Marcellus received an unexpected invitation. He was asked to attend a major charity event where a mysterious organization was announcing its new leader. He arrived expecting a normal business gathering, but the moment he entered the hall, he froze. Everywhere he looked were signs of Seraphina's work. The hospital rooms funded by her foundation, the schools built for children, and the families whose lives had changed because of her kindness. Then he saw her standing on the stage. For the first time in his life, Marcellus felt truly powerless. The woman he had thrown away was respected by thousands of people. The woman he called a burden had been the reason countless lives were better. The woman he believed had nothing had quietly created a legacy greater than anything he had built. The truth hit him harder than any failure ever had. He realized he had judged her by her appearance and ignored her heart. He had measured her value with money while she measured life through compassion. Marcellus struggled to accept what he had done. He remembered every moment when Seraphina supported him, encouraged him, and loved him without conditions. He remembered how she stayed beside him when he had nothing. Yet when he gained everything, he abandoned her because he feared losing his image. For the first time, his success felt meaningless. After the event, Marcellus found Seraphina and apologized. He did not bring excuses or blame. He admitted that his pride had destroyed the most precious thing in his life. He understood that trust was not something he could demand back after breaking it. Seraphina looked at the man in front of her and saw someone who had finally learned a painful lesson. She knew forgiveness would not erase the hurt instantly, but she also knew that people could change when they truly understood their mistakes. The road ahead was not easy. Marcellus had to prove through actions, not promises, that he had changed. He began volunteering with Seraphina's foundation. He stopped chasing approval from people who only valued appearances. He learned to listen, to appreciate, and to see people beyond what they owned. Months later, their relationship slowly began healing. Not because Seraphina forgot the pain, but because Marcellus became the person he should have been from the beginning. He learned that a home was not built with expensive furniture, and a marriage was not protected by wealth. It was built through patience, loyalty, and respect. Years after that painful week, Marcellus often thought about the day he almost lost everything. He realized the greatest loss was never money, reputation, or success. The greatest loss was losing sight of the person who loved him when he had nothing to offer. Sometimes people walk away from the most valuable things in life because they fail to recognize their worth. They judge based on what they see and forget that the greatest treasures are often hidden behind simple appearances. Seraphina's story became a reminder that kindness does not need to announce itself, and true wealth is not always found in bank accounts but in the impact a person leaves on the world. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like the video, share it with others, and subscribe to Echoes of Hope for more emotional stories that remind us about love, kindness, and second chances. Before the story ends, comment, "Kindness always wins," below so we know you believe that a good heart is the greatest treasure anyone can have. And remember, the people we underestimate today may be the ones carrying the greatest gifts tomorrow. Never judge someone's worth by what they show the world, because sometimes the quietest person in the room is the one changing the world. I can also make the YouTube SEO title, description, keywords, hashtags, and thumbnail prompts for this story if you need them.